Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Mortgage Coach Friday Mastermind. Dave Savage, CEO of Mortgage Coach, live with Rick Scherer. Hey, Rick, why don't you get a little closer? See, you can see right there.
What's up, guys? How are you?
So, coming live out of Boston. And by the way, why do they call it Beantown?
I don't know. Big beans, I think. I don't know. I have zero idea, but I'll Google it while you're talking.
Okay, so if anybody knows why Boston is Beantown, let Rick and I know. Important topic. We have Michelle Town back. What's up, Michelle?
Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome back from Puerto Vallarta, right before the hurricane. Loved it.
Good. So you had some good recovery time? You feeling recovered?
I did. Had some good downtime, a good relaxation, and didn't get sick, so I was really happy.
Good. That's always a goal of mine, too. I come on vacation, don't want to get sick.
I always get sick on the airplane home for some reason, so I was super happy that we didn't this time.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of people with a lot of different germs on airplanes, so, kind of one of those things. Well, Michelle, a lot has been going on the past couple weeks. I always like to, well, I don't do it always, but I've got a special guest, so I want to make sure Rick gets a lot of talk time. He's got some cool things to share. One of those topics is going to be Realtor Mastermind events. I've interviewed Rick before on his Realtor Mastermind, so if you want the whole Rick Scherer playbook, go into our YouTube channel. I think I even have a playlist for Realtor Mastermind events. I've written articles on how to do masterminds. So there's a whole lot of content. So if you're watching this and we didn't give you everything you wanted on masterminds, one, you could post a question, asking questions in our Facebook group. And two, you could go watch some of the other interviews on masterminds. So before we do that, let me share my screen, because there's just been so much great conversation in our Facebook group. Michelle, can you confirm you can see my screen? Right on. So what I've been doing is for maybe a week, I'll take a post that I think is super on point that I either want to drive in a Tuesday call or a Friday call, and I'll put it in the announcement section. So 15 hours ago, Scott Nicholson posted a couple example seller buy downs. Want to make sure that everybody in Mortgage Coach land really takes a look at this, because the way I like to look at these is they're like cases. They're like stories. Each one of them is a story and a strategy. I wish we had Scott on this call. Scott, if you are on the call, raise your hand and I'll unmute you. And maybe I'll even call him in a few minutes, because he's just been getting after it. Rick, have you seen this one, by the way?
I haven't read through it, but I scrolled through the whole Facebook page, and everybody's on fire with these. It's amazing.
Yeah. So anyways, so Scott, thank you for all the leadership. I think I'm going to be giving him another kudos in a minute here. Carlos, 11 hours ago. Did you see this one by any chance? Why are you the special guest?
I'm telling you, man. I just did my homework.
Okay, Rick, you're out. You're out. No, I'm kidding. So Carlos, first of all, great job at bringing your success back to the market. Went out there, you've got 4 realtor meetings. I want to shed a light on that, because I think one of the things that's great about the seller buy down strategy, while I do think it will close loans, I do think it will help sell homes, it's getting you meetings. It's giving you conversations to bring leadership to bear. Rick, anything you want to add about that? Assuming you have something to say.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I think, the gift that we have at Mortgage Coach is there's no really deep place to explain this type of concept than in Mortgage Coach, right? So, and when you're out there with this differentiation and this transformation of Mortgage Coach, you can tell the story, and the next loan officer is not coming around going, hey, let's go get coffee so I can, tell you about my rates, product, and service. You can go with value and, be a selective loan officer out there that can clearly explain this whole concept through a TCA or a seller buy down. So, no, man, it's just huge.
Yeah. So guys, keep sharing your success stories. And also, a number of you have been sharing actual samples of your total cost analysis. I saw one guy who said, hey, I sent this out to 500 realtors, and he's giving a sample of it. I mean, that's how we learn and we go faster together. So Lynette asked a question, trying to put together my first business plan for 2019. Any suggestions? I'm going to save answering this for the Tuesday call. Todd Bookspan is going to be delivering a 1-hour he's going to be facilitating a 1 hour planning session where I would even recommend you bring a realtor to it. I mean, we're designing that conversation so that if you brought a realtor live, it'll be valuable for the two of you. And then the recording will be something that will be valuable to share with your realtors, just to help loan officers plan personally and as partners with real estate agents more effectively. Rick, you do some of this, don't you?
I do. I do a lot of one-on-one, go really deep with my real estate partners, and this is just another way that we can sit down and figure out, well, yeah, what are you committed to in 2019? So I hate to use the word goals. Goals I see as like nice to haves, right? But when you can commit it around things, but finding what your agents are really committed around for business next year, and then go figure out ways in order to help them achieve it, right? You can have the conversation all day long, but bring value, and we'll talk some of that value we'll talk about today, but you got to follow up with value, right? And so having the conversation is 50%, it's delivering on the value is the other 50%.
Right on. Michelle, anything you want to add to just planning for 2019 and doing some, partnering with agents on it?
I actually, why I missed last week, I was up in Big Bear doing a presentation. I would say the whole centering for me was all about what we can bring to the table as partners, instead of everybody wanting money to help, because next year's gonna be tough. But I would just say, make sure when you partner with your realtors that you guys have the right fit, because if you're not the right fit, it doesn't work. And make sure that they understand your value as much as you understand their value as well, and what they're going through. Because sometimes we get so hooked up on what the loan side is, we forget about the real estate and the pressure on that side too. I don't know. That would be my suggestion.
Totally right. So by the way, everybody who's on Facebook Live right now, if you have a question, you can put that in comments. We will be monitoring that. And even if you get a takeaway or there's a quote, something you like that was said and you were taking a note for yourself, share that. Share that in the Zoom notes, share that in Facebook notes, so we can all get value as a community. So this is just promoting today's call, kind of keeping you and I on point. I'll take that out of that announcement stage. So guys, this is super cool. Did you see this one?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so Rick, you did a little bit of homework.
Yeah, of course.
So I mean, I have a thought and a takeaway here, but any takeaways you had when you watched this?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think he comes with straight, pure content and value that changes the way that they perceive, again, between the buying down of a rate and helping the sellers, really free up their homes and get them sold. So I think it's just straight up value.
So one of the thoughts I had was, I would like to study this. If I was a mortgage professional, I would just study what Scott's doing here. He's got, content and education on the screen for him, and he's showing them how he is creating urgency, value for agents. And then just watch how he's leading, for new loan officers, it might be intimidating. You're looking at this, you're like, I couldn't stand like this with a room full of realtors and just have this level of confidence. So, I mean, my guess is there's a lot of people that are like, oh, well, I can't do that. That's not me. It could be you. It could be you. It could be everybody in this community has this in them where you can facilitate this level of leadership. But if you just watch the 1 or 2 minutes, just, the level of leadership that he's bringing to the table. Now, again, he is a mortgage professional. He's a black belt with mortgage coach. I mean, he's a Jedi master with mortgage coach because he's done it hundreds, even over 1,000 times. So he's really good at mortgage strategies. So because that's who he is, he's able to show up like this.
But just comment on that. He's confident right there because he gets it. Because he understands the whole concept from soup to nuts. A question can't come at him where he can't answer with confidence, right? So he just 100% understands the buy down strategy, and he can get up in front of agents and clearly explain it. So,
I want to offer 635.
I didn't mean to turn it on there. Sorry, everybody. So anyways, a great example of a mortgage coach black belt. Well, didn't mean to do that either. Trying to go to the next post. How do I do that? Hey, Michelle, anything you want to add while I'm figuring this out?
No, I love the seller buy down strategy though. It is like the talk of the town, and it's something that we're doing very, very much. And that was one of the presentations we did up in Big Bear, which was talking about how to present and show them what the difference is of dropping their purchase price versus buying down the buyer's rate to get them to something that they can be comfortable with. So it was really, I thank everybody who shared, because it's a very smart idea. And I love that we're getting back into the normal market. I get excited because we haven't seen it in 10 years. So we don't know what it looks like anymore. So all the new people that came in, they're like getting shocked. All us old folks, we're sitting here going, yes, this is when we shine, right? This is when you get to use everything that you've learned throughout your history and just become creative. I love this side of the business.
Love that.
Can I piggyback off of what you just said?
Great.
I love what you said, and I've been using this with my real estate partners, and it's a change in mindset. Stop with the market is slowing down, it's changing, it's changing, but we're coming back to normalcy. This is great. Yeah, we're going back to a healthy market. Yeah, and we're prepared for it, and so changing that mindset around the doom and gloom around, oh my God, it's taking 3 weeks as opposed to a weekend to sell my house. Yeah, great. It's going to happen, and we're prepared for it. So, yeah, I've changed my language when it comes to that, and it's just totally. And agents are trying to dig in, real estate agents out of that mindset of, oh, woe is me, I can't sell it in a day. So I love that Michelle just commented on that. We're going back to normalcy. We're going back to a balanced market.
No doubt. And I love this quote. I pulled it from Josh Metal, his Facebook page. He posted it to his community, and I just think it's so important to recognize this. And fortunately, a lot of mortgage professionals in the mortgage industry do. They're retooling, they're upping their game, they're using their CRM, daily, not weekly, even hourly. More people are using Mortgage Coach for every single client than ever before. You gotta stay humble and hungry, and to me that means, for most people, delivering a total cost analysis to every family, that advice-based experience is the next level. And some loan officers, they don't need it. That's an example of not being humble, hungry, and smart. So I just think important quote for the marketplace right now. And for those loan officers that do it, I think you have the golden years. And for those that don't, I think it's going to be tough. So it's great to have Jay. By the way, you know Jay, right?
I do, yeah. Jay was a coaching client of mine, and he texted me. He was actually in there to go meet with real estate agents around the buyer's playbook, and he got in a conversation with them around the seller buy down. 2 hours Jay spent with them and going around the seller buy down, and he texted me. He was like, "Dude, I just changed the game and got them even more locked into me." And it's incredible. So I love seeing the whole community just wrap their arms around this concept, because I just think we got so much over the competition with just this one thing.
No doubt. And again, look, he's got the spring, he's got a seller buy down analysis up there. I would recommend as a best practice going into an agent that you've got a couple different seller buy down stories available. So it's kind of like story 1, story 2, story 3, maybe have up to 4 stories like ready to go. And then again, it's part of the conversation, those other conversations. And remember, it's not about the technology, it's about the story and the strategy. You're just using the technology to tell better stories and to explain strategies in a way that gives you a competitive advantage. That's where the magic is at. So again, Jay, thanks for all the value. By the way, Jay's in Boston / Beantown.
No, he's in Connecticut. He's in.
Is that close by?
Yeah, two states over.
I'm a West Coast guy, so I'm like, oh yeah, he's East Coast. He's close. He's in Boston.
He's right next to me.
Yeah. So I invited him, and he's like, sorry, Dave. One, I've got meetings with realtors. For some reason, I thought he was close by. All right, so a couple more things, then we're going to transition. Be ready for realtor masterminds. Someone posted this question: what are your most common objections? We've got 18 comments. I would love to see more, so fill that up. Dan Keller, I'm just leaving this up for a couple more days because it's such a great example of how Dan is using Facebook to market the strategy. You know, made a great video, has a couple of examples. He's killing it. So, hey, Michelle, and then again, Jenny. I'm leaving Jenny up too because she's just killing it. I'm probably going to pull these down over the next couple of days. So if you listen to this call or you listen to the recording, these will be, you know, in our thread. They'll be in the Mortgage Coach stream in a couple, probably by the end of the day. But I'm leaving these up in announcements for anybody that wants to check it out. Michelle, before we start drilling Rick on Realtor Masterminds, anything you want to share, anything you want to bring up? We don't hear you, Michelle.
I know, I'm terrible at this stuff. I am working on, you know, a video library right now. So that's just been one of my things that I have been pushing off and pushing off and pushing off for the whole thing, but that is on my calendar. So my whole month of November is all video libraries to get it all set up so I can have them readily available and just start like a chain of stuff that goes out to the realtors. One of our big things here that's becoming popular, and I don't know if it's available nationwide, is the Unison product where you actually double your down payment, where you're they're coming in and matching 10%. So that's becoming very attractive again, especially with a normal market and a normal increase, not these ginormous jumps in value. So I would just encourage everybody, you know, right now everybody's getting, I can hear it in everybody I talk to, everybody's getting nervous about this market. Don't. I mean, again, we're at a slow time anyway. It's November, December, holidays are here. Don't let this take your holiday away from you, because I don't want you to have a bad holiday. Just enjoy it, love it, learn something new, listen to a video, listen to anybody who's talking. I mean, we're all here to help you, and reach out to your people that are, you know, doing more business than you, and ask them what they're doing, and ask them how they feel. I bet you'd be surprised. I think if we ask more questions and really look at helping each other, that's, you know, that is the one thing that helps me when I give back. That gives me so much more. So I would just suggest that to anybody.
Cool, love that. Well, let's do this. I want to start masterminding with Rick Scherer on Realtor Masterminds. If anybody is listening to this and you have a question for Rick, I'm going to be following Facebook. I will be your voice and ask that question. And by the way, if there's someone that wants me to bring you on stage as a panelist and promote you, like you're in a place where you can come on video and ask a question or share a story, just let me know. You can either let me know in chat or questions of Zoom, or you can let me know on Facebook. So Rick, let's start with a Rick Scherer Realtor Mastermind. What is that?
Yeah.
You know, definition of.
So the definition of my mastermind is all around having nothing, I got the spotlight now, nothing to do with me. And I make that really clear. So it's all about, it's 3.5 hours of pure value. And so here's how I frame it. Great news. You are not going to hear about my rates, products, or service. What we're going to do is we're going to spend 3.5 hours. It's an invite only. It's 10 real estate agents. And how I pick the 10 real estate agents is 5 of them know me, love me, and trust me, right? They're already my cheerleaders. They're already been doing business with me. And I pick 5 that know of me. I know of them. Maybe in a market, you know, I've been trying to get their business or met them at a networking event. And what I do is I invite them into a room, and I really set the table around, and I set the table before they get there. Because one of the things with the mastermind events is you don't want the wrong real estate agents there. So there is an interview process, and I'll just kind of talk a little bit about the scripting and how that looks. You know, I get on the phone with them and say, hey, you know, next Tuesday, I'm hosting a invite-only mastermind event, which is going to spend 3.5 hours together with other like-minded real estate agents. And everybody who is coming to this event is open, who is committed to being open, honest, and transparent, right? No one's coming to this holding back and looking to take. Everybody that's showing up is looking to bring more value than they're looking to take. And when you can get 10 individuals committed to doing that, then magic happens. So once I've qualified them to be in the room, we bring them all together. And we have got some pictures of some events that I've done that Dave will pull up in a little bit. And, you know, the room is in a situation where it's not one of these hotel, you know, internal room type of things. There's windows and it's light and it's, you know, it's just really appealing for people to spend some time in there. I set the table really strongly around, you know, I first talk about Gary Vaynerchuk. And so for those of you guys who don't know who Gary Vaynerchuk is, I recommend checking him out. But Gary wrote this book, Jab, 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 Right Hook. And I usually open up the conversation with what that really means. Give, 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 and then you have permission to ask for the business. And, you know, I set the table there because I want people to get that concept of how they're going to grow their business. And by the way, I'm jabbing right now, right? I'm in front of you right now jabbing. You're not going to hear about me, but I really want to know, like, you to have all of this pure content. So what we do is we you know, I let everybody know. I uncover context before everybody gets there. Everybody gets a 2-page questionnaire. They tell me everything, what they're doing really well with right now, where they need help in their business. What opportunities they have. And, you know, one of the things that I ask is name 1 or 2 things that if you fix in your business would have the most dramatic impact, right? So I'm uncovering all of this context. And what I tell them when I'm setting the table in the beginning of this is, I am not your business, right? So I'm not going to sit up here and tell you how to do your business. My job here is to be a maestro. I'm just going to facilitate. I want you to get as much out of this as possible. And everybody that's sitting here, I say, you know, it's up to you to extract what you need out of this, right? You got to take responsibility for that. And I'm going to give you that ability to do that. And so what I do is now that I know where everybody does really well in their business, where they need help, what would really make a difference in their business, I just spark a question, right? So I just had one last Tuesday. And one of the things that I got really clear to was more than half of the people in the room wanted to double their business in 2019. And what I ask in the question next to it is, what are you doing in your business to hit your goals or what you're committed to? And it was light, right? It wasn't like someone who was committed to growing their business double, right? So I started just an exercise where I asked them, and I called everybody out on it. Hey guys, like you told me something, and it didn't really, what you were going to do about it didn't really match that. And I talked to them about this whole thing around goals and how I see goals. You know, I see goals as nice to haves. You know, like, hey, if I can double my business next year, that's great. And if I get close to it, yeah, that's cool. So I talked to them a little bit about a distinction around goals versus commitment. And, you know, it's funny, after I talked about that, and by the way, I'm going to give you guys at the end of this an ability to get a 10-minute training around goals versus commitment. But, you know, so I won't spend a lot of time here on it, but after I talked to them about the concept, they said, you know, yeah, I'm not really committed to doing double my business, or I don't have the tools yet. And so I set the base there, and I opened up and I started the conversation, and 3.5 hours goes by quickly. And so people, you know, are just, and all I say to them is, guys, I'm going to make sure we don't go into any rabbit holes and be consistent. So, you know, and then I just allow the room to just bounce ideas, concepts, everything off of each other. And they just start writing and writing and writing. And it's just incredible.
So guys, I like this strategy for so many reasons, but I'm just going to list a few of them. I do have a question from the audience, and then Michelle, I'm going to have you jump in here. But so one, I love this idea because it makes you better. You know, imagine you are doing masterminds with top agents, some of them your clients, some of them your prospects, and you are in that learning experience, you're better. You're going to be a smarter, a more professional mortgage professional. So I love it because of who you become. You need to become an amazing leader to realtors and home buyers, and this is a way to do that. So it's not like, hey, I'm coming and I'm giving keynotes. It's like I'm coming and I'm facilitating learning. So I love that. I love the fact that you're the facilitator. You're like the host of the party. And so you get to facilitate this learning opportunity, and then you get all the reciprocity that comes with that. So talk about, like, you know, it's great to have an event, bring a bunch of realtors, do a keynote, feed them lunch. You know, that brings a certain level of, thank you, Dave. But imagine if you really put together a great mastermind with badass agents and they got value from it and you quarterbacked it. That's a lot of reciprocity. So I love that. By the way, I love it from a prep standpoint. For anybody, you know, that saw Scott, you know, like the master showman and running the show, spotlights on him. I mean, that's prep, that's work. Facilitating a mastermind isn't as much prep. It's just getting the right people in the room and facilitating the conversation. So by the way, guys, I could go on. I mean, I've spent most of my adult life either learning at masterminds, facilitating masterminds. I did write a LinkedIn article. It was one of my first 2 LinkedIn articles on my playbook, like how do I prepare and how do I lead masterminds. This is like years ago. And then I facilitated a big realtor mastermind with Jeremy Forcier. And by the way, there's cheap, no cost masterminds. And then there's big budget, you know, box seats at a Cubs game masterminds. You know, there's cheap, and then there's middle tier. By the way, WeWork makes a great opportunity now for you, for any mortgage professional in a city that's close to a WeWork, to, like, you know, literally on your mobile phone, reserve you know, I reserved this conference room yesterday on my mobile phone at the same time that it would have taken me to order an Uber. And here I am in downtown Boston doing, you know, a mastermind. So guys, this is an awesome idea. So Michelle, those are some of the things I like. I don't know if you have a question or you want to share anything.
No, I like the jab, then ask, because too often when we go into a real estate meeting, we try to sell ourselves, right? And we don't need to sell ourselves. And so what Rick is saying is, like, so incredible. I don't even think I talk about an interest rate. I probably talk about a program, but I do it after I, you know, go through the room and I ask a lot of questions. I try to be very engaging with them. And I think I always start with, you know, I could tell you all about my products and how great I am and whatever, but it doesn't really matter if it doesn't help you. And so tell me some of the problems that you've had over the last 90 to 6 months, and let's see if we can work together and come to a solution. So that's what I do. And I think, you know, Rick's approach is so great.
Yeah, it's this concept around stop going out with your palm up, looking for the business or being there to promote yourself, because just know you're probably the third loan officer that week that had that same pitch, right? But go with your palm out with value. And if you continue to compound that value, you transform your relationship, but you become indispensable. Like what you said, but when they can't live without you because you just add so much value, the next loan officer walking down talking about the new non-mortgable condo program, or, you know, how this rate special is going to work, that only fits until someone else comes with a lower rate. It's like the 7-minute abs versus 6-minute abs, right? It's you know, when some people come a little bit less than you, so it's all around that value that you can add. It's just a
So by the way, guys, the community's being a little quiet. I'm hearing the crickets. I'm not getting the questions or the comments. So I did have one question, so I'm going to ask one question. But guys, this is a mastermind. And so, you know, myself, Rick, Michelle, we're here. If someone would like to be unmuted and have me, you know, bring you into the conversation, just let me know in chat or raise your hand. So Rick, this question's come in from someone where they want to know, like, what are all the questions? You know, like, so you mentioned one question that you're asking. Give us a list of all the questions you're asking.
You mean as far as the question
at the mastermind? Yeah, like, no, the questions at the mastermind. Like, walk us through your playbook of different questions you throw out in a mastermind to do the event.
Yeah, it usually doesn't. you know, I usually have to ask one question, and then we're off to the races for 3.5 hours. So all I'm doing is I'm time management. I'm making sure that, you know, we're taking the breaks because I make everybody put their cell phones away. We're taking the breaks and that sort of thing. So again, it's all around uncovering the context, really, you know, knowing where, for instance, the way I started off this last mastermind was I had one of my real estate agents that commented that they don't get any business from open houses, right? And that's, so I knew that information going in. And at the same time, I had an agent in the room who gets 50% of her buyers from open houses, right? So now I know the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come to this and I'm gonna say, hey, Carlos, like one of the things you uncovered is that, you know, you just don't get any business right now from open houses. And then, you know, can you talk to us about that? He's like, yeah, you know, I grab their hands and I walk them through the house and I'm, you know, showing them the crown molding and, you know, the backyard and, you know, I'm really selling the house. And then I'm like, hey, you know, Jessica, you said that, you know, you get 50% of your buyers from open houses. Can we talk about that? And she's like, well, I sit in the back of the room. I wait till they come in. I engage with them. I find 3 things to connect with them before they walk out of the door. You know, I find ways how I can follow up with them and you know, and she's like, yeah, I'm just not selling the house. Right? So that one question then went into how are other people doing open houses and things like that. Typically, masterminds end up in 3 different things. It's business development, business conversion, and time management, right? That's usually where, when you get the questionnaire back, that's usually where, you know, we'll end up. And so I'll have an idea going in, okay, we're gonna spend an hour and 15, 20 minutes on this, and this, and again, I just let it happen. I step back and I interject where I need to. I'll come up with a concept because again, this is yesterday was my last week was my 15th. I have my 16th one on Wednesday of next week. And so I know how a bunch of other real estate agents are doing it. So like Dave said, you're sitting here listening to all these amazing ideas. And if they don't come up, you can interject them in and just say, hey, you know, we've had one before and they did this and it's totally changed their business and they're writing it all down. Now, I'm not up there trying to, I know how to do your business, but it's, hey, I've heard this concept before and I think this might add some value to it. Yeah.
So guys, we could go all day on this strategy. I do have one other question and I am gonna change the topic here within the next 5 minutes, folks. So if you do have questions for Rick on, you know, how to do a realtor mastermind, ask us. Also, remember, I've interviewed Rick on Realtor Masterminds. I'll put a link down below. So if you're watching this in the recording, it'll be down below in the description. And I'll also put a link in the Facebook comments. So stay tuned. In the comments of the Facebook Live of this mastermind, we'll put a link to a few resources for you guys to get smart on how to do a mastermind. Walk us through the email, like how you invite the realtor, like, you know, and I think we may have even given people a sample to your, call it your marketing, but if you could just play by play, you know, I've got some realtors I want to invite. Obviously it's going to be different if they're a customer already. That's just a phone call and yeah, hey, will you do it? But give us the marketing, the messaging you use to invite prospect agents.
Right. Yeah. So pick the phone. So this isn't an email that goes out. This isn't anything short of me picking up the phone and calling an agent that has never done one before. And I'll go through some scripting right now. So, hey, John, hey, listen, you know, Rick Scherer, MSA Mortgage, yeah, you know, and hey, I'm been part of before or been invited by a loan officer. This is your internet connection's unstable. I'm not sure if that's good. Okay. And so let me just tell you the basis and tell you the kind of the qualifications of being in the group and see if it's something that aligns for you. So yeah, so at 9 o'clock next Thursday, and again, by the way, guys, I don't book these or tell people about them until we're about a week and a half into it, right? It's you book it three weeks out, a month out, you're gonna get a lot of people dropping off or rescheduling. I do it about a week and a half beforehand. So listen, I bring in 10 buyer agents into a room and I orchestrate a mastermind event. This isn't the Rick Scherer show. I'm not going to be talking about anything besides being of service to you and really uncovering context to help you grow your business. So there's a couple of things here I want to just be really straight with you on, that this is an invite only, and you were just selected because I just know you're a great person. And the people that have already committed to being in the room are being committed to being open, honest, and transparent, living out of abundancy and not scarcity. And so, it's 3.5 hours. I serve lunch. They bring it out. It's a working lunch, right? We're cramming 3.5 hours into this, and we'll have that. And it's a hard stop at 1 o'clock. And if that's something that you can commit to. Oh, and by the way, like if you say yes, there's going to be a seat with your name on it. And if you're not there, that's not going to be of service to the room. So before you just say yes, I need you to really make sure you can change your world to be in the seat. Because I said, it's just going to be game changing, and I'd really love for you to be there. And if you can commit to me, man, that seat's all yours.
Love it. So want to make sure everybody took the notes. Remember, he's not inviting people a month out. It's a week, no longer than 2 weeks. So boom, it's a phone call.
And then you follow up with all the details of where everything is, but you have to have that conversation. This isn't a massive.
No, I do a lot of these, and sometimes I will call 1 or 2 people that are because I do CEO roundtables, and I'll want to have a couple well-known players that, hey, I've already confirmed this person. Do you ever do that where you kind of name drop?
I don't because I don't want to go, oh, I had a transaction with them, or, no, I don't want to tell them, what I've got going on. So there's a distinction. I will typically do buyer agent mastermind events, and where they're not competing over the same buyers. But what I am doing next week is a listing agent mastermind, right? Now they can compete, right? Because they're looking for the same seller. So what I'm doing is I've got 8 people. I do a little smaller on the seller because they're all alpha, right? And I'm intentional about keeping everybody out of their markets. But I don't name drop. I just say, hey, there's just some incredible people that are going to be with us. And typically they're not asking because I'm creating so much power in the conversation.
Powerful conversations.
Powerful conversations.
Remember, Rick Scherer, powerful conversations. So 8 to 10, I'm going to have a name tag. He's just using lots of powerful concepts and language to drive people into the event. So Michelle, before we go on to another topic, anything you want to say or anything you want to ask?
Well, first, thank you. I have an event up in Northern California, so I'm going to be using this. I hope you don't mind, Rick. I'm going to get the name tags and get them all excited because I think that's great. I think we might add something personal for them because this is a pretty big group that we're going to. What do you do when somebody doesn't show up? Do you call them and say, hey, or ours is a little bit different because we're one-on-one with our realtors. So when they miss a meeting, it's kind of bad when one of them's sitting there and not sitting there. But do you do anything? Do you send them up a follow-up? How do you handle that?
Yeah, great question. So for me, I always think about what's my intention, right? So they didn't show up. I could call them out. I could, I let it sit. So we did have one person out of 11 miss the last one. And, he called and apologized. He had a family emergency. And so, yeah, great. I'll just invite you to the next one and, just be really intentional. Sometimes I just don't invite them back if there was just no communication. But, I don't, it depends on what my intention is. But, typically I just let it sit. And if I think they're going to add value to the next one, I'll invite them back.
Cool.
Can I just make one other thing? Because I think a lot of people might go, my first one, I don't want to sit there in front of 10 people. I fall on my face, what's going to happen? So if anybody has that really constrained around that, what I might suggest you do is if you can uncover some context when you're doing one-on-one. I hear a lot of agents go, you know what, Rick, I want to own my business. I'm going to bring on a team member, but I'm just not sure how to do that. start doing smaller masterminds. Maybe find an agent that is really great at building teams outside the market that's looking to kind of help, and then do a 2-people mastermind, and then bring 4 people or whatever, just to get comfortable with it. But I think if you come at it the way we've talked about it, 10 people is no problem. But I don't want people to get constrained on that's a lot. Just start connecting. Be a connector of people, and it'll start growing.
And when there's a will, there's a way. And like, let's just say you're 6 months in the mortgage business, and you're just like, I can't do this. Find another loan officer to mentor. Bring this to someone else and do it with a senior loan officer at the company you work with, or your branch manager. Again, if there's a will, there's a way. And I just believe that this is a strategy that in the mortgage coach community, where we are a community and we want to differentiate based on the quality of our advice and the advice experience that we create for families, making that a competitive advantage. And we want to build a personal brand so that we can Amazon-proof our mortgage. If in this community, if that is who you are, I just think that doing Realtor Mastermind should be one of those things that we all do. It's just a question of how do you do it? And everybody is going to have a different how. So not a complete change of subject. I'm in Boston. I get you here personally. Your playbook, I mean, it's trending big time in the mortgage coach community. Win by noon, trending big time in the mortgage coach community. Sell or buy down, it's trending. Your playbook is trending. So if you could, give us an update, from Sales Mastery.
Yeah.
I want to make sure people know about that. Let's mastermind a little bit about that. I don't know if you have one.
Yeah.
You actually have one. Check it out.
Yeah. So, here's my thing, right? I talked about it, Sales Mastery. When I got up on stage, I was like, hey, I never want to be as good as my last deal, right? I never want to play the with game with my real estate agents. And that usually meant working with people that I didn't want to work with, but because I needed that business in. I just needed to find a way to transform my relationships with real estate agents so that I didn't have to worry about that loan officer coming down and bringing them the coffee, like bulletproofing my relationships. And so, my partner Rich Clayton and I came up with this concept about 4 or 5 years ago, because we knew that no real estate agent had the whole process that would walk a buyer through from the pre-approval stage all the way to post-closing and everything in between. And we said, if we spend time really chock-fulling, making this book, so meaty, right, that we would go and bring this to real estate agents, and we co-brand it with them. So at least we'll be providing value to the agent because we've already created it. One of the biggest things that we hear from this playbook is, I'm actually wanting to do that, or I've always wanted to do a whole thing, but I've never had time. Well, this book took us 2 years. So it does take a long time to do it, but we did it, and we put the time in, and we said, this is going to be great. And then we realized, you know what? Think about this. Real estate agents never leverage the buyer that they have sitting in front of them. What I mean by that is, they'll refer a title company or attorney, the lender, maybe a home inspector, maybe a mover, I don't know. But after that, like this buyer sitting in front of them, they just, they would be reactive to any referrals out. So, they would be, hey, I now have a tax deduction. I should probably talk to a CPA. Well, okay, yeah, call my guy, right? Everything seemed to be like you have to pull it out of the real estate agent to refer. And then we were like, you know what though? And they're all casual relationships. A real estate agent could, refer their CPA, but they'd never have a powerful conversation with the CPA going, hey, if I'm sending deals to you, hey, will you think of me? I always tell this one story about this real estate agent, Linda, who, when I sat down with her about 1.5 years ago with the playbook, she goes, I love this. I've referred my I've referred my CPA 10 times in the last 5 years. He's going to love this playbook because in the back of the playbook is a business card holder. I'll just show you real quick. Is a business card holder that, that people put all the, CPA, financial planner, estate planner. And she goes, man, my CPA is going to love this. I've referred him all this business. I'm going to send them even more business. I'm going to sit down with them. And the way I coach my real estate agents is, show them the book and say, hey, like I'd love to be really intentional and refer you to every single one of my my buyers. And I'm just hoping that I'm looking for you to refer me on when you hear the word real estate. Like, is that fair to say? Right? Moving that relationship with that person from casual to committed. And it's funny, Linda had this conversation with her CPA, and the CPA goes, oh, I didn't tell you? My wife is a real estate agent. Well, think about that, right? They just had 10 deals the last 5 years, went to a guy that's never going to return the favor. And so Linda's got a new CPA as of, I think, January or December of last year. And she's up to 6 referrals from that agent. So, the playbook is something that we put in the loan officer's hands to go out and take to your real estate partners. You co-brand it with them. You give that buyer that experience, right, of going through the transaction and just not having any stress, having every piece of the transaction in their workbook. And then you show the real estate agent how to go build their community. And go and start with the people they refer today and then start building on that. I've got agents that have 35, 40 people in the back of their book that have all committed to sending them business, all through my coaching with the real estate agent. And now I'm getting the credit for all the deals coming in the door from all these vendors now. And we're showing the buyers, we're incentivizing the buyers to call the people in the book, right? So I've said a lot, right? But it's cementing my relationship with the real estate agent. I'm showing them, like we talked about in the beginning, when you're sitting down doing business, doing doing the 2019 planning, and they say, hey, Rick, I want to do 6 extra deals this year. Now I'm going, hey, like if we put 8 people in the back of this book that are committed to sending you business, well, you're going to get your 6 deals next year, and I'm going to show you how to do it.
Yeah. We need 6 books.
Yeah.
So guys, I love this for so many reasons. But one, it's leading with education. So this is home buyer education. And then it's wrapped around masterminding with the wealth team. Anything that gets you to have more intentional relationships with all the advisors surrounding the homeowner. Again, and by the way, and it makes you the captain of the wealth team. So I just strategically, there's a lot of dynamics that make a lot of sense there. By the way, have you ever done a mastermind around like an agent and their referral partners and done a mastermind with that crew?
Yeah. So again, I've been doing this for 2 years, guys. So before we took it to the market and brought it nationally, we did a proof of concept, right? And so I've got a head start about 2 years, and now I've got agents that have between 15 and 30 people in the back of their book. What they've essentially done is created a BNI group, but all centered around them.
I was just thinking that. It's like their own BNI.
But what's wrong with BNI? Usually half the people in BNI wouldn't really refer. Now the agent has total control over that. But now what they're doing is they're going, hey, happy hour next week. I'm bringing everybody together. And so I've done things like in those happy hours where like a lot of agents will do coffees. So once a month they'll do a coffee and they'll bring all of their service people together. I'm standing right next to the real estate agent, right? And we'll talk about how to go out and grow business. And now the CPA just met the plumber, and the plumber is now using the financial planner, and the estate planner now knows the CPA. So awesome. But it's all around that real estate agent, right? And guess what, loan officer? You're sitting next to you brought this all to them. So when we talk about how in 2019, you either have to bring value to every real estate agent, or you're going to do a lot less business next year.
Yeah.
You have to.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
this is just one of the ways.
And it makes you an essential partner. And I love the fact, it's got a total cost analysis in there. We do need to get the new look at.
Yeah.
New layout. But guys, this is super, super smart.
Let me just talk about that for a second, because that's actually pretty huge in this. So what I do is when I coach my real estate agents, like, yeah, listen, you're going to sit down with a buyer that comes in with a big bank pre-approval or someone else that's not me. Hey, I want you to turn to page 22 and show them the total cost analysis. Show them in the scripting, 15 quality minutes with Rick Scherer at MSA Mortgage, could potentially save you tens of thousands of dollars over the life of your mortgage. Total cost analysis will show you the true cost of each mortgage option. Call Rick. Here's his phone number. You don't give him your social security number or anything like that, but it gives me a bite at the apple. And then this is how I get a lot of buyers that came in with someone else to go, oh, and by the way, Rick brought this book to me, right? And he's why we have this book. You got to give him a call. Now I just picked up so many pre-approvals that weren't me, right? Sat down with the agent, and then and now call me because of this. So if you do decide that this is something you do, we have a button when you subscribe. It says I'm a mortgage coach user. This is either a notes page or it's all about the total cost analysis, allowing you to convert more deals. And yeah.
So by the way, you know what this also is? This page, this is a script on how they can refer you. And if you go back and you read the lead conversion playbook, I'll put a link down below where we put in all the key strategies to optimize conversion. The first two, number one is educating the agent around why you're different, how you're different, how every one of their clients is going to get this total cost analysis, and the realtor knows why it's valuable to them. It helps create urgency and clarity for the family, which gets them off the fence and into escrow. And it helps the family have confidence and clarity around the mortgage so that the realtor gets the why. And then number two is it's the script. Like, they're not just, oh, call my loan officer, blah, blah, blah. It's like, oh, call Rick Scherer because he's going to help you save tens of thousands of dollars in a script. So again, I think you guys got so many takeaways just now. Again, I am an advocate, and I endorse an ambassador for Rick and this platform. But even if you didn't do the platform, he just gave you so many ideas on being intentional with the wealth team, educating at the front end, documenting scripts so that your agents know why and how to refer you in the most efficient way possible. Michelle Town, any questions or any takeaways you want to make sure the community gets?
No, I took down, again, with my noon, lots of notes here on what we're going to be doing here. I really appreciate it. I'm going to go look at the playbook here because I think that's great. We are using Mortgage Coach right now for some of our open houses. It seems to give a little bit more pretty graphs and pictures without too much information that just detracts from the actual property being sold. I think this is really invaluable. I hope everybody listens to this again because actually my assistant Melissa, she's incredible. When we did Big Bear, one of the things she did, she Facebook stalked the top 10 agents in that room. And so when I went into that room, I had a picture of the person so I could recognize their face. She had told me what they found on Facebook, whether they market on Facebook, or one of them had a funny story. It had a run-in with a police officer and almost got a DUI. So we joked about that, but it was so nice because when I went in there, I felt like I knew them. I was careful on how I addressed everything, but it was incredible because it just makes you feel like you know them already. And my biggest fear is walking into a room that I don't know anybody and I get the armpit sweats. I have to go stand outside and do my Superwoman pose so that I feel confident when I walk in. I get scared just like anybody else, and I've presented a lot. And so don't be afraid to present. I mean, if it is 2 or 3 people, it doesn't matter if it's 2 or 3 or 20 or 25. It's the same. Just be yourself. I think you'll do well. And if you engage the audience, I think that's the #1 fear. A lot of people don't like to engage the audience. Engage them. And like Rick said, you're going to ask one question and then everything just follows from there. You won't even, your agenda that you have written out is you're going to have addressed it, but it's going to be addressed in a way that works with the audience.
Love that. So there's a couple of questions from the audience, and I want to go through a little bit of a review of today's call. I want to remind you, if we didn't answer all your questions, that's what our community is for. Mortgage Coach, Productivity Mastermind. If there is a question you have, ask it. If there's a success story that you'd like to share with this amazing community, again, assuming you're getting value. If you're getting value by being part of this community, best way to let us know is to give value back, which bring that in the form of stories and strategies. So please bring that back. I want to also remind people we talked a lot about the seller buy down. we have created a playlist called Fast Track Your Seller Buy Down Success. So all of the videos, you know, I kind of put them in order of how you should be watching them, you know, the interviews that we've done over the past 2 weeks to help you become a black belt at seller buy downs, there's a playlist for you. So it's at the top of our YouTube channel. And remember, we've also created this seller buy down playbook in LinkedIn. I'll put a link to it down below, so check that out. Now, one person asked, how do I sign up for Tuesday's call? Every time, first of all, we're pretty active on social media, so there is a link on social media. And if you go to our calendar section, so go to Connect, and within Connect, there's a Mortgage Coach calendar. The internet's running a little slow, so it's not popping up. But just know, under the Connect tab of the Mortgage Coach website, you can sign up for Tuesday's call. And then, Rick, if anybody wants to sign up and become part of your community, get access to this, what do they do?
Yeah, well, let's start this way. So, you know, Aspire Marketing Systems is really the what we use to create the book. Go check out the website, aspiremarketingsystems.com. And one thing that, you know, Dave said, hey, let's give some like straight value, free value. And so one of my partners with Aspire Marketing is a guy named Mark Manieri. Mark is an executive coach. He coaches, he's my executive coach and coaches 9 of the top 200 loan officers. He has done our modules, right? There's a lot behind this whole concept, right? It's not just, we're not selling books. This isn't, and by the way, you're a loan officer, you're not going to sell books. This is selling value and partnering with your real estate agent, playing the depth game, not the width game, right? So there's a lot to it. And what we've done is we've 10 training modules on it. And what I wanted to do is we share the first 2 modules with anybody in the community that just wants to get an idea of how they can transform their business. These modules aren't to sell you on the playbook. These modules are straight value, talking around what we talked about before, which was goals versus commitment, right? Getting clear on that. And then how to move yourself away from being a commodity. And moving yourself away from being a differentiator, just trying to be a little different from the next loan officer, but how to be transformational. So 2 modules. If you want to go to contact us, send us an email, let us know you came from Dave. What we'll do is we'll send you the 2 modules, you know, just so you have them, keep them. And what I'll commit to you right now is I listened to them on the way here, and I'm fired up just listening to them all over again. Just drop us your email. We'll shoot them over to you. If this is a concept that you think might align for you and something you'll grow, we'd love to have a one-on-one conversation, see if there's alignment there. But one of the things that you had said is Win by Noon is trending. This is trending. You've got the buy downs trending. The reason why that's happening is because Win by Noon, that's straight value. That's straight different. That's not rate product service. That's, hey, let me go educate my agents on how they can go and win by noon, right? Same concept here. Again, just bringing something different to the table that it gets you away from the Zillows and the things that just make you as good as your last deal.
Love it. And by the way, these 3 gentlemen are amazing human beings. Both Rick and Richard have both created over 1,000 total cost analysis. That means they have served over 1,000 families at the highest possible level as advisors. And then Mark is their executive coach, and I've got to know Mark pretty well. Amazing guy. I mean, just an amazing leader, great crew of people. So great product, great platform. Reach out to Rick. If you're listening to the recording, I'll put a link down below on how you can get in touch with Rick. And by the way, I recommend, you know, just get after it. I mean, sign up. I mean, it's a great platform. I appreciate the value add. We'll take it, but I also recommend, I endorse this, and a lot of our clients and members are doing business with you. I'm stoked about it. So we got a minute left. Hopefully you got an hour of value. Please give us a like if you're watching this in YouTube and you got value from it. The way we know which interviews and which calls were like the best are the ones that are like the best. So if this was valuable, give it a like. If you are a manager or a leader and you think that you have people on your team that would get value from this, share it with them. you know, whether it's non-publicly and you just share a link in an email, that's great. If you want to share it on Facebook or LinkedIn and share it publicly, we'll, you know, we appreciate that just because it helps us, you know, get more socialization of Mortgage Coach. Hey, Michelle, any last words or thoughts before we wrap up today?
No, I just want to thank Rick so much for sharing his time with us. I really appreciate it a lot.
Thank you. And Rick, let's get the answer to Bean Cam then.
Yeah, so we'll follow up with that, and follow me on Facebook. I love the interaction.
Yeah, follow him. He's a great guy. He does it again. Advisor, building a personal brand, creating massive value, and he's a lifelong learner. He's always getting better. So take care, guys. Hopefully you got value today. See you Tuesday. Don't miss Tuesday's call with Todd Booksman. It's gonna rock.